Hello and welcome to Studio RC, an encouragement for both your recovery and your faith. My name is Max. I am an alcoholic and I am also a follower of Jesus. So this week we're starting on a new adventure, and each week we're going to take a look at a different recovery church value. And we're going to do so, I'm going to try something I haven't tried. I'm going to put a little timer in the corner and I'm going to give myself 12 minutes to see what I can do on each value. I'll only have the 12 minutes and we'll go through each of the different values. What I wanted to do is just set it up, and this will be the same setup each week, and then we'll transition into whatever value of the week. But it's important to remember, who are we and what do we do here at Recovery Church? Recovery Church Movement is a network of recovery churches reaching and training those in early recovery to grow in their faith and their recovery. Recovery Church Movement is a bridge between the 12-step fellowships and the church. We train, coach, and help people learn to become disciple makers within the recovery community and to start, plant, and reproduce recovery churches. That's who Recovery Church is. That's what we do. Now, our vision, our Recovery Church vision is this: a recovery church in every city in this nation and beyond. And we have taken a look, I think there's something like 15,000 cities in our nation, and so we're looking at that and looking at ways that we can continue to expand and continue to have recovery churches in each and every one of those locations, in addition to your online resources such as Studio RC or our RC online campus, our High Five at 420. So we have all these different stories, different ways that we can help those, both the physical locations as well as giving digital resources as well. And so our mission, we've did our vision and our mission. Our mission is equipping God's people to do God's work of recovery. So we have who we are and what we do, we have our vision, and we have our mission. And that will set us up each week to go into exploring a different value. And we'll review this each week, and then we'll go into the value of the week. And so over the next several weeks, we're going to look at various values. And again, I'm going to take 12 minutes on a clock and see how far and how much we can get covered. I may have to speed talk, but that's okay. So hopefully you're ready, and this will be something that'll be informative also of who, again, Recovery Church is, and who the very essence of us and our values and the things that we do value. So let's get started on this week's value. Welcome to our last Recovery Church value, and that value is love. It's the thing that ties everything together. It's probably one of the most important things that we could ever experience or show others. It's the presiding quality that Jesus brings to the table is love. And so maybe this is the most important value. I don't know. We could probably argue for Jesus, but love changes things. And I'll just share before we even put the 12 minutes up on the clock that it was the love of God, specifically the love of Jesus, that changed my life and changed my recovery. I was sober and I had a significant faith experience when I realized that Jesus could love me even in spite of my 4-step, even in spite of all the amends I had to make on my 8-step list and then make in my 9th step, that Jesus loved me regardless. And it was a game changer. Love brings about freedom. And we no longer are tied to performance. We have this safety net of love because of God. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I don't know if you see behind me, I actually have in big letters love. I know my head often goes over the V or the O, but it's such a significant theme in my life, in my recovery, in my faith, that I am happy to share on this and end on this. So with that in mind, we'll see if we can get through love in 12 minutes. Just like a lot of these topics, they're so vast, but fingers crossed that we can get through this one in 12 minutes. So I'm going to, for the last time in this series of Recovery Church Values, we'll put the 12 minutes on the clock. All right, and away we go. The Recovery Church value of love states, finally, we'll be known for our love. Finally, we will be known for our love. Now, the long version of the Recovery Church value, which I've been able to share the last couple times, the longer version, it says, God is love, and we will be known for our love. Without love, we are nothing, just a noisy gong. We will love others boldly because Christ first loved us. I love that. We will love, others boldly because Christ first loved us. Isn't that really what love in recovery often looks like? A bold love, an audacious love for others. So let me start out with a story. It's a story that Pastor Phil shared actually when he was sharing about this particular quality in Recovery Church. And I think it's a good way to start our time. But he recalls this story of a rabbi was telling a story of how this young man was eating a fish sandwich, and he was enjoying the fish sandwich, and he was just devouring the sandwich. And the rabbi, asked him, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, the young man said, I love fish sandwiches. I mean, maybe I'm weird, but he's like, I love the fillet of fish, and I get the 2 for $5 at McDonald's, and sometimes I even actually get 4. I don't even tell my wife that I do that, but I love fish sandwiches. And the rabbi comes back and says, you love fish? And he's like, I love fish. And he says, you love fish? That's why you caught the fish, you killed the fish, you gutted the fish, you cooked the fish, and you ate the fish because you love the fish? And, the irony is I don't think that you love the fish. I think you love the way the fish makes you feel, was what the rabbi said. And we do. We say that we love everything from Jesus to pizza and everything in between. And so we're going to call this love, like this, I love like my sandwich, my fish. We're going to call that fish love. That's what actually Pastor Phil called it. And it's this idea of feeling love, this external love. Because fish love is love based on how we feel. And I think a lot of people associate love with feelings. We're going to dive into that, about that today, and see how maybe God has a different idea of maybe what love could look like. Fish love is based on the feelings you receive when you're interacting with other things or other people. And honestly, it's probably not true love. It's our feelings, it's our desires that dictate to us who and how we should love. But we have to remember that Scripture says that the heart is deceitful above all things. So if my heart says, oh, I love this is the best, the heart can be deceitful. The world tells us, it's funny, listen to your heart, trust your heart. Culture says it's good to follow your heart. But God says the heart's deceitful, that we're not supposed to trust our heart. So these are opposite statements in conflict. They don't go together. The heart is deceitful. So what are we going to do with that? One of the things, again, and this is Pastor Phil shared this, love misplaced is not true love, it's bondage. And listen to this line from the big book, from page 283. It says, what a grand evening it was. I fell in love that night with a beverage. Returning to the States, I was determined to continue with my newfound love affair. Love misplaced is not true love, it's bondage. Many of us have fallen in love with our addiction in the sick, twisted, fish love kind of way. We became into bondage to our addiction. True love is more of a choice. It's more of a surrender than just a feelings. Feelings are fleeting. They're deceptive. They're fickle. But the kind of love, God's love, will never let us down. So we're going to look in the remaining minutes a little bit at what God's love is. Culture, we live in a culture that has misunderstood and really misrepresents what love is. Yes, we know as people of faith, love wins, but not fish love. Love wins that an abiding, eternal, uncompromising love. That's what wins. In the New Testament, the Greek language has multiple words for love. And instead of just, in English, we only have one word. We say love, and that covers everything. And it leaves so much to be desired. I think that, the thought that the Inuit people, or sometimes referred to as Eskimos, they have like 20 words for snow, something like that. And we just have snow. We have a limited definition of words, and love is the same. In English, we say, we love pizza, I love my dog, I love my wife. But in Greek, they wouldn't use the same word for each of these. They would use different words to distinguish the different types of love. So I'm going to go over 4 types of love that are found in the scriptures, just so that you know. The first one is philia. Philia. Like the city of Philadelphia, where I'm near from. And Philadelphia is known as the city of brotherly love. Phila is brotherly love, and Delphia is city, so it's the city of brotherly love. So Phila, it's that love. It's a friendship love. It's camaraderie. It's a love that when you go into a meeting in AA or NA or recovery church, and someone calls you brother, or you go to church and someone calls you brother or sister, it's that kind of bond. It's that kind of love, which can be very powerful. We need brotherly love. We need people around us that are going to be there for us, and we need to have that kind of love. There's another kind of love. So we have philia, brotherly love. We have a love called storge, and it's S-T-O-R-G-E, storge. And this is an affectionate love. It's a love between family members, like for children or your parents, or if you have children, if any of our children were ever in trouble, as a parent, we're going to do everything in our power to help our children. It's a unique, sacred, powerful kind of love, and there's power in that love, that storge love for parents or grandparents, aunts, uncles, children, but it's more of a familia love. Then we have eros, or erotic love, and that's a sexual love of a husband or a wife. That's powerful and that's sacred. And most importantly, so we have philia, brotherly love, storge, which is that affectionate family love, eros, which is that erotic love, and then we have agape love, which is maybe and probably the most important love there is. It's the ultimate love. It's the purest form of love. It's a love that cannot be fully explained. It comes from the divine. It's a divine love. It's a love of total and complete surrender to what God desires and what God wills. Agape is such a strong word that it was rarely used in Greek culture until Christ. We see in the New Testament that it's used about 320 different times to refer to the love of Jesus. 1 Corinthians 13 says, the greatest of these is love. Agape love is the greatest. There's no greater love, no greater agape than this, than a man would lay down his life for his friends. And these are the words of Jesus before he went to the cross. And he calls on us to follow him. When love in the right context, when we have that kind of love, it's freeing, it's liberating. It's not about feelings. If we just based our life on feelings, one of the things that we sometimes say in the rooms of recovery, feelings are real, they're not always true. Like, I don't feel like getting out of bed in the morning. but we still do because we got to go to work or we got to go to school. We might not feel like doing it, but we do it because we need to do it. So it's not our feelings. But as addicts and alcoholics, so often we allowed our feelings to guide us. And feelings are a horrible master, a horrible leader. And addicts and alcoholics, a lot of times we're feeling kind of people. And so we like to feel, or sometimes we like to numb our feelings. And so, but the feeling, the kind of love that Jesus and God talks about, this agape love, is different. Jesus said, there is no greater love than this, than when a man would lay down his life for his friends. And then he did the unthinkable. Jesus laid down his life for us. He died on the cross for you and for me. I want you to think about that for a moment. We can easily say he died on the cross and we miss the point. We see that in our culture. We wear a little cross around our neck in Recovery Church. We even give out the surrender crosses as a symbol of starting a new life. We sometimes can forget what they really mean. Jesus died on the cross. He literally went through hell. He had been beaten, mocked, spit on. They yanked out his beard. They stabbed him. They whipped him. They spit on him. They stripped him naked. They shoved a crown of thorns on his head. And they nailed his feet and his hand to that cross. He's hanging on the cross. And how does he respond? How does Jesus respond? He says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Father, forgive them for whipping me. Father, forgive them for nailing my hands and my feet. Father, forgive them for spitting at me. Father, forgive them for rejecting me. Father, forgive them for everything they've done. Father, forgive them for shoving that needle in their arm. Father, forgive them for taking that drink. Father, forgive them. That's true love. That agape love, the Father, forgive me. That's the true love. There's no greater love than that. The scripture continues and says, there's no greater love than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you keep my commands, if you do what I say. Jesus says, I agape you. I unconditionally love you. I love you so much that I died for you. But the fruit of your love for me is you're going to obey my commands. You're going to keep my commands. You're going to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That golden rule. We speak of the golden rule because that scripture is so significant. We have allowed ourselves to truly be changed by God's love, by the love of Jesus. Listen to this. It says in Mark 12, and I know we're a little over. We're going to take a couple extra moments here with love because it's important. But of all the commandments, which is the most important? The most important one, answered Jesus, is this. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. The second commandment is just like that. Love your neighbor as yourself. There's no commandment greater than these. Love God and love other people. And as you love other people, it's how we love God. Love is about service, serving others. It's not about feelings, at least not the biblical or faith definition. I want to share two last readings with you before we close our time and close this series. But one of the things that Pastor Junior shared with us, and I've loved this reading, and he shared a reading about the speed of love. Listen to this. Hurry is incompatible with love. Love is painfully time-consuming. No shortcuts, no life hacks, no killer apps. It takes an enormous amount of time to love well. Love and hurry are oil and water. They simply do not mix. And if we think of all of our worst moments, almost all of them were often when we were hurrying, when we were trying to, go quickly through something. A Japanese theologian said it this way: God walks slowly because he is love. If he is not love, he would have gone much faster. Love has its speed. It's an inner speed. It's a spiritual speed. It's a different kind of speed from the technological speed to which we are accustomed. It is slow, yet it is Lord over all other speeds, since it is the speed of love. There's a reason people talk about walking with God and not running with God. It's because God is love. And I would be remiss if I didn't share 1 Corinthians 13, the love passage. Sometimes you hear it at many weddings, but listen to this description of love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. And I'm going to change it up just a little bit. I'm going to replace the word love. Love equals action, not a feeling. Love equals service. I would almost make the argument, it would be a little bit of a stretch, but love, we could almost say recovery equals love. Listen to this. If I take the word out love and put in recovery, see if it doesn't fit. Recovery is patient. Recovery is kind. Recovery does not envy. Recovery does not boast. Recovery is not proud. Recovery does not dishonor others. Recovery is not self-seeking. Recovery is not easily angered. Recovery keeps no record of wrongs. Recovery does not delight in evil, but recovery rejoices with the truth. Recovery always protects. It always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. Recovery never fails. As described by God, love, recovery never fails. The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. It is my hope that you would experience this kind of love and the freedom and the liberation and the spiritual awakening attached to this kind of God love. Not fish love, but God love, agape love. Know today, without a shadow of a doubt, you are loved. Loved by God, loved by Jesus in a significant way. And as we love God, let us reflect that love by loving other people. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey of the Recovery Church values. Hopefully you found it encouraging, hopefully maybe even educational for those who are new to Recovery Church and trying to understand or figure out what we're all about. But these principles, these are the principles that we build Recovery Church on. And it's through these principles that God is growing us into the movement that we are. So I thank you so much for coming throughout, whether it's just this particular episode or if you've come to some of them or all the episodes on the Recovery Church values. But now you know a little bit more about us and how we think and how we go about things. I thank you so much for being here. We encourage you. Make sure you like the video, share the video, comment if you've been touched by the video, share the video, subscribe, do all those fun things that just increase our opportunity to share these life-affirming and encouraging and life-changing ideas and thoughts that have impacted our lives. We'd love them to impact other people's lives as well. So God bless, and thank you again for coming to Studio RC. Remember, Recovery Church, 12 steps, one goal. God bless.